Solana did a great run back in 2021 to some crazy dizzying heights. In this video, we're going to look at where it can go in 2024, 2025, and when it will happen. Now, down below there are chapters, so you can fast forward to those sections so you can get the info that you want easy, so use them to just get to the points that you want. Also, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Please do your own research before moving into the crypto space. It is very risky. So like I said, Solana had a crazy run back from essentially like within a year, and it just ran up to crazy highs, and we've seen a very bad pullback, but then we've seen that pullback reverse, and Solana has been doing absolute numbers right now. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to look at the Bitcoin price and have a look at the heights and when those runs happened and those gains. Same thing with Ethereum, and then use that to give us an indication of when the top will come in and what that top will be price wise. So first up, when we have a look at Bitcoin, what we're actually going to do is we're going to have a look at what the points were between so this top here and this top here. The reason we're going to look at the two tops is we can look at the distance, so we can look at top to top, and then we can look at the past cycle top to top, and then play that out with Solana. So what we can see here is if we clear this up, when we have a look at the bars, so we're on the weekly, we can see here that it's okay, so it's essentially 1428 days. So you can see that right there. So what we're actually going to do right now is I'm actually going to put in here days between tops 1428. So we're going to go 1428. That gives us how many days between the tops. Now we're going to look at the next two tops. When we have a look at the next two tops, we can see from December 2013, and we can see here it is 1,470 days. So we're going to punch that in 1,470 days. So you're starting to see a little bit of an indication here of where it can be, the fact that we've seen these. Now, I could go back to the other tops back when we kind of hit the a little bit earlier, but I think that's going to skew us just a little bit. Now we're going to have a look at Ethereum. When we jump in here, we can see that from this top to this top, we've had 1,400 days, so 1,400 days. So we'll go Ethereum 1,400 days. You can see it's a little bit shorter, but that's just what the data and the charts are telling us. Now, I'm not going to run back to any of these prices yet. I wanted to actually take in just the euphoria of this cycle here. So I wanted to take this cycle chunk right there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the cycle top to top and see what those gains have been. And because we're on Ethereum, we will just stay here. What we'll do here is we'll use that, and then up here. So we can see there has been a gain from top to top of 232%. So we're going to punch this in here, top to top, 232%. Now we are going to head over to Bitcoin and do the same, but we've got a few cycles with Bitcoin to work with. So when we measure this out, we go top to top, and we get 248%. So we're going to punch that in, 248%. Now what we're actually going to do is we're going to go in and have a look at the previous top to top with Bitcoin, because we have that data and it will just give us a little bit more clarity. And right here, November 2013, all the way up here, and we get 1,494%, but let's just round that up to 1,500%. So we get a 1,500% gain when we go sort of top to top on Bitcoin the second time round. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the bottom to the top. So in the last cycle where it bottomed out and where the top is, and this should give us a good range for Solana. So when we have a look at Bitcoin with the bottom well and truly put in at around this level here, because this was a black swan event, so we don't want to necessarily take in the black swan event, we want to take in the actual low right here. So what we'll actually do is we'll get the ruler out again, we'll have a look here, and from the bottom to the absolute top we get 2,067%. So we're going to go bottom to top, 2,067%. Now, when we have a look at the previous top bottom to top. I actually might turn on log, so we've actually got a little bit of so it's a little bit easier to look. What we'll do is we'll take in the bottom here, ruler, bottom to top, and we get 11,700%, 11,700%. Cool. Now we will do the same thing with Ethereum. So we will take the bottom, and we can see that Ethereum from the bottom to top is 5,700%. So what we'll do is we'll go 5,700%. So this can give you an indication that Ethereum did have a bigger run from the bottom to the top because it was more volatile. And this time around, Ethereum will most likely be less volatile. And that's why we've actually kind of seen that in the charts as opposed to Solana. But it adds weight to the fact that as the markets mature, there is less of an upside, but there also is minimal downside because then there is less upside to rip back up. So what we're actually going to do here is we're going to have a look, and we are going to go from Solana's top, and we're going to go out between 1400 and 1470 days. So this should give us an indication of when the top for Solana should come in. So what do these stats give us when we actually have a look at all of these different numbers, the days between the tops? What we can do is we'll run that out, and we can see that if we get to around 1400 to 1450, we get September to October in 2025. So that's what we're going to do. The top for Solana, when we have a look at what has happened in the past with other markets, has been around 1400 days. So when we get to 1400 days, we get to September or October of 2025. So if I was going to be putting money on when it would peak, that is when it would be. Now what we're going to do is look at the price prediction. Where could Solana go to? What we're doing here is we can see that Bitcoin and Ethereum in a very conservative way have done between sort of 200 and 248%. So I'm going to go a 2.5 to 3x. So these numbers from Bitcoin and Ethereum, you will get different numbers depending on what exchanges, what liquidity, and when you actually nail down to the minute, but this should give us an indication. So if we're going to sandbag it and go, how high can Solana go if we're just going top to top? What we're going to do is we're going to take this in. So on Solana, we have this green bar, which is the top zone, which we just charted out. If we take the top and we run it up 200%, we end up with $781 US. So we're going to go between sort of $781, and then we'll also run it out to 300%. And what we do when we get top to top, we also get 1,052. So we'll also go 1,052. Now these numbers are if we take on sort of selling the top. So what we'll do is merge these cells up, and we'll go top to top. So top to top, we have between $781 and $1,052. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to do the bottom two tops, because this should give us an indication. Now what we're actually going to do here is Ethereum had 5,700 on its last run, and Solana has been absolutely beaten down off the back of the FTX sort of saga and fiasco, and Solana got down to a set sub $10. So we're going to run between here. So we're going to have a conservative of 2,000%, and then we're going to have a bit of a bullish case of around 5,700% to mimic Ethereum and Bitcoin with their kind of runs from the bottom. So when we have a look at the actual bottom on Solana, what we can see here is we can see the bottom came in on December 26th. That's when we had the big crazy sell-off. So what we're going to do is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to run up to sort of 2,000%. Now 2,000% takes us out to $173, which doesn't sound exciting at all, but we're putting in these numbers to get realistic expectations. So when we go back into Solana and we take it up 5,700%, we end up getting to around $460. So we're going to go $460. Now we're also going to take in this large bottom to top of Bitcoin in the, not the last cycle, but the cycle before, which is 11,700%. So what we're going to do is we're going to run 11,000%, and that gets us up to $905. So we go 905 for this crazy boost here. Now these numbers will be skewed if we then look at a different bottom, so not necessarily a black swan event, and instead of taking in a low of sort of 8, we take in more of the second low here, which is around $14. Once we start to run these numbers up, we then end up getting a lot higher of numbers. So the 2000% gets us to basically all-time highs. 5,700 gets us to around $800 a piece, sort of $750, which is on track with the top to top. And then when we have a look at the 11,000%, we end up with getting to what, 1,400, sort of 1,500, which is 50% more than the top to top. So when it comes to my price prediction and time of Solana, here is where I think it will be. We're looking at sort of September, October 2025, and we're looking at a price point between sort of $750 and I'm going to say $1,250, split it down the middle and get close to $950. This is the chart. This is how it's going to play out. Not financial advice. Do your own research, but looking at the stats and the charts, this is where it is. I would be smart in my selling and actually sort of DCA exit my positions, just so I'm not hedging it all on this one point in time, because we all know that the markets are irrational, but this is the chart to look at. Now, this hasn't taken into account with Solana the inflation of Solana, the inflation of the tokens, because Solana is inflationary at this point in time, so that number will be lower. There can also be market forces that are out of our control that we won't know of, be it bad actors like FTX when they were there, or a new exchange, something like that, that could suppress a price or that could boost a price. When we look at Solana, it has been absolutely running, absolutely popping over the last sort of month or so. We've seen it run up close to sort of just over 50%. When we take in the absolute low to the sort of high now, 300%. When we take in the close to the close now, you're up sort of 200 something percent. When you look at something like Ethereum, if we take in the low sort of here-ish, so that wasn't anything black swanish, we get up 70%. If we take the Pico low to the Pico top over the past sort of like bear sort of cycle, the bear market, we had 143%. So you can see Solana is absolutely outdoing it. Now look, I know I'm harping on Solana, but when you even have a look at the Solana, Bitcoin and Ethereum Bitcoin dominance, what you can see here is this is Solana. Solana has had an absolute bounce back when it comes to Bitcoin dominance, or getting close to 100%. When we look at Ethereum, you can see it was very strong through this period. But then recently, Solana has Ethereum has just been dropping off, and Ethereum is just very hard. It's very hard to catch up. So at this point in time, when you're having a look at these, coins, the big boy Bitcoin, when you look at someone like Solana, Solana is outperforming Bitcoin at this current point in time within the last few months. And then when we have a look at Ethereum against Bitcoin, it isn't just performing. And then when you look at Ethereum and Solana, it's just game over. And this is what I mean by it's game over. You can see that it has just been a straight trend up. You're going to end up 100% better by being in Solana as opposed to Ethereum. I'm not trying to choose chains. I'm not trying to tell you what to invest in. I'm just showing you the charts, the stats, the numbers. So my current position right now, I hold a bag of Solana. I am actively DCAing into Solana. I believe in Solana because I know a lot of people that are building on Solana. I know I've used the chain actively. I know people that use the chain and spend Solana. I know people that also do Ethereum, but with other chains, I don't know about the activity. I don't know about people actually working on Solana, on other chains. On Solana, I see people active. I see people using it. I see lots being built on Solana. That's why I feel like it's a good play. And sort of at the moment, I am up on my Solana bags that I've been DCAing over the past few months. I wish I'd loaded up more. So yes, I am biased. I am kind of pumping my own bags Solana, but I do think it has a future and a potential to run just because there's all that. You also look at Visa settling on Solana. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's happening in that ecosystem, so I really like it. I think it's really good. So that is a look at Solana, when it will top out and what it can top out at. If you enjoyed this video, go down there, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, tell me how bullish you are on Solana. I had a pleasure making this video. Hopefully you enjoyed watching it. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.